Right, you will see I have my piece of rope here just in case things decided to go really wrong. And I'm just looking at that. That spring is not quite in the right place. I'm going to have to lower this down and do it again, which is really rather annoying. But you have to get the spring in the right spot there, which mine isn't, so I've got to take this down again. Anyway, what I did do is I raised it up on this and then I put the bottle jack in here just to give it that extra support and extra safety. Now I'm going to have to lower it back down again until I can turn that spring just a tad. And then we'll continue with the assembly. Don't go away. Now, as you can see here, I've realigned this, got that in the right place, and that's something you need to do. So I'm now jacking this up, the main jack under here, and then this one as a backup, just to cover my ass. I have my bolt here ready to go in. Now I will be thread locking it, but first let's get some copper grease on here so that goes in easy. Okay, what I've done now is I have used this jack to raise up the control arm, then put this ball joint in this way first with the nut, and then slid it into this one. Yeah, it sounds easy, it sounds easy. It sounds easier than it really is. Now I'm just trying to get this on here now. Got to make sure you get that pin in the hole, which is not always easy, I grant you. Now I'm using the nut here to try and guide it in, but it's not quite making it, so I might have to do a little gentle persuasion. Excuse me, I need to get a persuader. What I did find to get this pin aligned was some gentle tapping here to bring this part of the ball joint around. Now we're reasonably secure at the moment, reasonably. I'm still not going to take the tension off yet. Now these are new nylock nuts, so I'm not worrying about thread locker on those, but on the other ones that I dealt with, like on the tie rod end, where I belted it, I'm going to put thread locker on that just to be sure. Okay, that's just pinched up now. Let me just pinch this one up so that I feel somewhat safe. And I don't necessarily recommend this way of doing shit, but when you don't have the, you know, $1,000 Mercedes spring compressor, you can work your way around it and you can get shit done. You just have to be careful. Right, that's good and tight. Can't get on that one, that with the ring, so we'll do it with this. Right, we are good and secure now. Next thing, let's just get this in. There we go. Look at that. Give it a swift tap with an hammer. Bit of thread locker. You don't need a lot. And whilst the nut may still have worked, I don't want to risk it. Don't know if that's a 22. Yeah, that's a 22 as well. Thank you, Mercedes, for keeping sizes the same. And the biggest pain in the ass we have to deal with now is the sway bar link. And that is fun, getting that lined up. You will have hours of fun, and so will I. Let's make sure that's not turning. Nope, that is not turning. Right, that's good and tight. Next I'm going to clean all this up, clean these surfaces up, clean up the rotors, put it all back together, making sure you use blue Loctite on the various bolts. Don't forget the ABS sensor. Give that a bit of a clean before you put it in. I'm going to give it a quick blast of brake cleaner. This really is kind of like an addendum because I wanted to show you. All right, tell you what, one other thing to show you is, well, let's lower it down now, and you see I still have my string on here. I don't need it, string, rope. Everything else now has got to go back together. So what I want to do is just take the pressure off. I'm just going to let that lower by itself now, and we'll be good. I'm going to take this brake pad out, give it a clean, get off the ABS sensor, not the ABS sensor, sorry, the brake wear pad sensor. The only thing I might need to do will be to jiggle this up and down to get the sway bar link on, which of course is not going to be easy. It's going to be as painless in as rectimus. Also the shock bolt, and then that's a thing. Let me show you something else that I do, and I don't know if I've mentioned it before, and if I have, tough shit. Blue tape. See blue tape? Shock bolt, rear control arms, control arm bolts, brake fluid, shock bolts. I've got a thing about shock bolts. It's a good aide-memoire. This tape does do no harm. You know, look, the writing doesn't go through, so, you know, don't worry about it. You can stick it on the window. I just happened to stick it on there because I had this window down, so there was no point. All right, there you go. Just little help. Hopefully it helps whoever's got a Mercedes E320, and I'm sure it probably applies to other Mercedes as well. Certainly doesn't go to the E350, which my wife has. It's a totally different control arm setup. Of course, more expensive. All right, there you go, boys, girls. Hope you enjoyed it. If you didn't, oh well, never mind. Life can be a bitch. Yep, and there she is, she's free, so now let's lower it down the rest of the way. The control arm is controlled. It's held with the shock, it's held with the mount here. I'll take these off now, and we'll get shit put back together. And of course we'll do the shock bolts. Alright, thank you for watching. What else can I say? Get out in the garage. Do some shit.